What's up, guys? Back for another video here today, and today we're going to be doing a video based on the best free agent moves of 2020. I just reacted to the worst, and it probably should be out at the same time as the obviously this one you're watching right now. And yeah, go check it out. Some of them, because I don't know, maybe some of them will pop up on here as the best one. I know definitely one of them should, but yeah.
Absolute worst NFL free agency decisions that occurred in this past free agency period. And of course, many of you guys suggested that we do the best free agency signings, get a little bit more positive with it. So, what's going on, guys? Your boy Microphone back again with some fresh new NFL content for you guys. Now, guys, we are about 300 subscribers from hitting 30,000 subscribers on this channel. That's absolutely remarkable.
Go check them out.
We literally just
Makes
started
good
making
videos.
content about a month and a half ago. So I wanted to take some time to thank you guys. And if you're new to my channel, you love NFL content, you love all of football, because we're going to be covering the NFL, the XFL, the CFL, even, no, not the CFL, but the NCAA as well. We have a bunch of content to make leading up to the NFL draft as well. So much fun stuff to do. Make sure you take a moment to drop a like on the content to help the channel to continue to grow. Subscribe, and furthermore, I'm going to be doing a cool little stream that we it's just going to be chilling later on tonight.
Let's get to the video, man.
React to also suggest Flight Mike at the flight to a there's a $63 million contract.
Yeah, this deal, sorry for skipping that, but I wanted to get straight to the video. But anyway, but do go check out his channel. I'm not trying to, just skip through his shit like that, but do go check out his channel. He makes some good videos. This first one here, I like this deal, just for the purpose of, it's a good deal, in my opinion. Maybe a little overpaid because we don't know what he looks like on a different team, since, obviously the Saints. But, I like it just for the purposes. This guy needed his own team. He needed it, and he got it, with this deal. I'm not sure, how he'll do with this team. I like him on this team. Obviously, he went like, I think 5-0 as a starter or 6-0 as a starter. But that's with a really good Saints team. So, but anyway, I think it's a good deal.
And look, I understand there's a part of me that is a little bit skeptical about this signing, which is why it is rated so low. And it has nothing to do with
plus that division is going to be amazing.
Nothing to do with the Panthers. As a matter of fact, I applaud them for getting rid of a regime that was consistently looking like they were going to be mediocre. With all due respect, I really like the idea of Cam Newton commanding the offense as the quarterback and Luke Kuechly being the captain of the defense. But ever since their failed Super Bowl run, that team has not been the same, and there's no point in trying to continue to build upon a culture that has clearly failed. Well, I wouldn't say it's a complete failure, but they didn't win a Super Bowl, and most teams would consider that to be a failure. As much as I loved the Cam Newton era in Carolina, by the way. But here's the thing. I am typically extremely skeptical about signings like this. Signing the backup quarterback that has pseudo-proved himself in an ideal situation to a big contract is not typically the way I would want to build my team, which is why it's ranked so low. But regardless, Teddy Bridgewater has proved that he has the stuff. He already had the stuff prior to going down with that freak injury when he was commanding the Minnesota Vikings as quarterback. He already went to a Pro Bowl back then as well. And this is just a great story to see that Teddy Bridgewater finally gets his own team. I really can't comment further on this because I don't understand the vision that Matt Rule's trying to build in Carolina.
Sense.
I do like the way that they're trending, and I do appreciate the fact that David Tepper wants a completely new regime and to build this team from the ground up and hopefully build a contender. But ultimately, I'm not exactly sure if this is the right way to go, which is why I have it as the least best signing. But regardless, they still got one of the most desired quarterbacks on the market to a fairly fair contract on 3 years, $63 million, and I really hope it works out. At number 11, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers bringing back Ndamukong Suh on a 1-year.
Yeah, I like this deal for the purpose of signing Tom Brady. He might be in this video, I'm not sure. But yeah, bringing back Suh was a big piece to this defense because they have a really good linebacker. They got Devin White, the rookie. Well, not really much of a rookie anymore now. David. I can't remember the other guy. He'll probably pop up somewhere. He might if they talked about the Bucks team in general. But they got a good line. I like their line. Their secondary's not the greatest, but hey, they are getting better. Plus their offense is amazing.
$8 million contract, and honestly, I feel like Ndamukong Suh had a lot to do with the new culture that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers built. A lot of people didn't really recognize this because Jameis Winston was turning the ball over so much last year.
Yeah, 30
But the
picks.
Tampa Bay
30
Buccaneers
for
had one of
30.
the most underrated defenses in the entire league. Shaq Barrett, a guy that was consistently an
Yes, Shaq Barrett. That's the other linebacker. He was a beast. He came over from the Broncos. Not sure how much sacks, but I think it was double digit. I'm not sure how many, but
afterthought on the Denver Broncos defense, brought in 19 and a half sacks, and then I feel like Ndamukong Suh had a lot to do with that. He was absolutely phenomenal at stuffing the run. The stat sheet doesn't give this guy enough credit, and bringing him back on a one-year deal, which is what Ndamukong Suh has been doing recently, signing these large one-year deals and just providing good value on the deal. Teams don't have to remain that committed to him, and he stays fairly motivated because he's on one-year deals. I feel like this is a phenomenal deal to bring back a player that was a former number 2 overall pick that still has a lot left in the tank. So I applaud the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
pretty good deal
for maintaining their defensive identity. At
Pretty good
number
deal.
10, I think I have my most controversial pick here with the New Orleans Saints bringing back Malcolm Jenkins. Now, bear in mind,
yeah, Jenkins, I like him a lot. I don't watch a lot of Eagles games, so I don't really watch a lot of him in that defense. But the Eagles defense is pretty nice. Obviously, they do lose him, but they do bring in some other pieces to that team anyway. But see him come back to the Saints are a big thing just for the purpose. It brings that secondary, makes it a lot better. It already was good in general, but now bringing him in, I think they might have overpaid him a little for his age. But hey, if he comes out here and plays, like he usually has been for the Eagles team, then hey, it's not really much of a overpaid. But we'll have to see.
and this is not the 26-year-old Malcolm Jenkins that the New Orleans Saints let leave to the Philadelphia Eagles, but rather this is the 33-year-old version of him. And regardless, I feel like the reason the Saints did this move is because they were missing that captain on the defensive side of the ball. You see, the New Orleans defense is very, very, very good in my opinion. The only issue is at times they look fairly inconsistent. Regardless, Marcus Davenport, Cameron Jordan, and Marcus Lattimore make for some great defensive pieces, and I feel like if they had a captain that has been to 2 Super Bowls and won 2 Super Bowls on their team, they could definitely be one of the best defenses in the entire league. Now, I do feel like it was a slight overpay at 4 years and $32 million because he is going to turn 33 years old in December, but I feel like what they're getting in return, and considering the fact that they're trying to make the most out of Drew Brees' final years with the roster, is definitely worth it. The New Orleans Saints need a good defense in order to succeed down the line. And their offense is already taken care of by the big three of
Didn't he get injured on that play,
Brees, and Michael Thomas, and the newly signed Emmanuel Sanders. Now at number 9, this is a move that needs to be way, way higher on this list, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna let the ad play through and talk about
I
this
have
deal
it
here.
so low here. It's definitely a goof on my behalf, and it's that the Steelers.
But yeah, it's gonna show the ad in the background. But yeah, bringing Ebron to the Steelers is a big deal. Just for the purpose of how he was with that team last year with the Colts, or not last year, just the year before with Andrew Luck, and it was a good signing, bringing him from Detroit because Detroit didn't really like him that much. But yeah, we'll hear more on it here. But yeah, I think it's a great signing for Pittsburgh. I think it's a great signing and a pretty good contract for how good this tight end is. I'd say a top tight end in the league for the contract he got.
Low here. It's definitely a goof on my behalf, and it's that the Steelers signed Eric Ebron for 2 years and $12 million. Now, guys, this is less than the amount that the Bears signed Jimmy Graham to. So bear that in mind, because the Bears signed Jimmy Graham to a 2-year, $16 million contract, and we ranked that as one of the worst deals last year.
Yeah, go check out that
Over
video.
Here, the Steelers get a player that really proved himself in Indianapolis when he had a good quarterbacks such as Andrew Luck, and they desperately needed an upgrade from the likes of Vance McDonald. I have faith that if Ben Roethlisberger consistently gets the ball to Eric Ebron, we're going to see some great things from Eric Ebron, and this is tremendous value at the deal. It's 2 years and $12 million to make a very, very big upgrade for a team that desperately needed it. Like prior to this, I would say that the Steelers had a D+ tight end rating. Now I would bring them all the way up to a B with potential for an A-.
Yeah, about
At
say
number
like
8,
an A.
we have the Philadelphia Eagles signing Nickel Roby-Coleman for...
Yeah, this deal was pretty nice for the Eagles, just for the purpose of they do get, some playoff. Brings in a corner that's, been in spots that they need to win. Obviously, he was part of that one play, against the Saints. Obviously, everybody remembers. But besides that play, he's been a very good corner in this league, and getting him for a 1-year deal has been amazing for this Philadelphia team.
1 year, $1 million. Yes, you read that right. That value in itself is the reason why the deal is here. The Philadelphia Eagles opted to completely overhaul their secondary in free agency, and this is one of the small, low-key moves that they made. Now, Nickel Roby-Coleman is forever going to be known for two things. One, being a very, very small cornerback. He's about 5'7", and two, for that infamous hit that he had that should have been a pass interference that resulted in not being a pass interference. Nonetheless, the Eagles get tremendous value here once again. 1 year, $1 million to upgrade your cornerbacks. Without a doubt, I feel like Nickel Roby-Coleman's going to prove himself on this deal and demand significantly more money with a different team next year. But in the meantime, the Philadelphia Eagles get remarkable value and get a phenomenal cornerback. But that's not all the Eagles did, because at number 7...
Yeah, this is not all they did. They picked up this man right here. Darius Slay is a beast. He is getting up there in age, but he still got, like a motor. Come on. He's a beast. They got him. I think it's a fair deal for both sides. But yeah, bringing him with Roby-Coleman on that team is going to make this secondary for the Eagles a lot better.
The Philadelphia Eagles would also trade a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick for Darius Slay. And I feel like this is great because, come on, Darius Slay coming back for a 3rd and a 5th is definitely equal value. He straight up said that he didn't respect Matt Patricia, and I feel like the culture that the Eagles have cultivated in Philadelphia is ideal for Darius Slay. Now, once again, this is a guy that shut down Amari Cooper on national television.
Yeah, and he gets to play him 2 times a year now.
He's proved himself over and over again to be one of the premier cornerbacks, without a doubt one of the top 10 cornerbacks in the NFL. And I feel like if he plugs in and fulfills his potential with the Philadelphia Eagles, then this Eagles defense could turn the clock back to where they were in 2017, although the loss of Malcolm Jenkins is going to sting a little bit. If this doesn't turn into Nnamdi Asomugha Part 2, I expect the Philadelphia Eagles to be the team to beat in the NFC East, and this is coming from a Dallas Cowboys fan. At number 6, we have the Indianapolis Colts signing Philip Rivers.
Yeah, this deal here is interesting because this could be a good signing. This could also be a bad signing. Obviously, for the Colts, it could be obviously okay, a championship comes out of it or some sort. Like, that would be amazing. Or just a total, shitty season, Yeah, they just miss out the playoffs barely and then really do nothing or just do nothing in general. But it's interesting to see how this would go and see how he is. It's a 1-year deal, and I think at the age he is, he might retire after this year. So let's obviously see what happens.
To a 1-year, $25 million deal. Now, I know this could be controversial because I know a lot of Colts fans said they absolutely hated this move, considering the fact that Philip Rivers was literally throwing wide open passes to the opposing team last year. He clearly lost a step, and you could make the argument that he is past his prime. But the fact of the matter remains that the Indianapolis Colts gave Jacoby Brissett a chance, and he's a good game manager, but he's not a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And as good as the Indianapolis Colts defense is, it's not a defense that could carry them to a championship. It's not like the type of defense where you could have Rex Grossman at your quarterback and make it to the Super Bowl like the Chicago Bears did over 10 years ago. Or it's not the type of defense where you could have Trent Dilfer in at the quarterback position and have the Baltimore Ravens carry you to a championship like they did in 2000. Yeah. So they do need some quarterback that could make moves and make plays happen on occasion. A 1-year $25 million deal is completely low risk, and the Colts can afford this risk. They have a great defense, and if it flops, then they could be competing for Trevor Lawrence next year. It's Super Bowl or bust, and what the Indianapolis Colts are expecting Philip Rivers to do is hopefully do his best to imitate Brett Favre and Randall Cunningham in the latter part of their careers, although with better results. Both of those players came within a play of making it to the Super Bowl. So I also believe in Frank Reich as a quarterback. He has proven to be extremely effective with quarterbacks that can air the ball out. So I think that this is a good move. But again, this is a move that could completely blow up in their face. Once again, it's boom or bust. At number 5, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing Tom Brady. And
I'm not going to really talk about this one this much because it's kind of obvious. But yeah, a good signing for the Bucs. It does push them a lot farther than what they were before this signing, because signing Tom Brady, they got a really good defense. Do need some help in the secondary, already talked about. And you know, bringing in a quarterback that actually knows what he's doing, not throwing 30 picks, 30 picks a whole season. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Jameis Winston. But yeah, it's a good signing. And not on a bad deal, obviously.
I expect a lot of Bucs fans to be upset. Some people would expect this to be the top thing on this list, but the fact of the matter remains, Tom Brady is 42 years old. You don't know how much this guy has left in the tank. And a lot of people are comparing this to when Michael Jordan went to the Wizards, but that's not where I want to go with this. My issue is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers still have a lot of holes to fill. That offensive line isn't the most prettiest looking offensive line. That pass rush is fairly efficient, but their corners and DBs definitely need some help, and they could also use a better running back as well. Regardless, this is still a huge upgrade over Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston literally turned the ball over 30 times just through the air by throwing interceptions. Tom Brady took 4 years to hit that mark. So regardless, they're going to have a quarterback that could hold on to the ball and be significantly more efficient in moving down the field, and that in of itself deserves the number 5 spot. But I don't think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a Super Bowl favorite. They still have a lot of work to do in order to get there, and fortunately for them, they still have
they could surprise. Who knows?
Tom Brady plus Mike Evans plus Chris Godwin and Bruce Arians should make for some very interesting TV. And I need to know your opinions in the comment section down
what do you
below.
guys think?
Would you draft Tom Brady for your fantasy football team? I don't know. I'm kind of on the
I don't
fence
play
here.
fantasy
At number 4,
football.
I have the Baltimore Ravens getting
but I probably
tremendous
would not.
value by trading only a 5th round pick for the ageless Calais Campbell. And
Yeah, this is a great deal for the this is a great trade for the Ravens because, come on, they were at number 1 seed last year. You know, bringing in him to power up that defensive line that's already been pretty nice last year really just makes this team even more scary.
Calais Campbell has been a beast for his entire career. He has yet to produce a season where I literally look at him and say, wow, is he going to be okay? Is he slowing down? He's been doing this
and they got him for
11
pretty
years,
cheap,
and
though,
giving
too.
up only a 5th round pick for a pass rusher that produces at this rate is a phenomenal value. At this point of his career, he's only 33 years old. He's been in the NFL for 11 years. Calais Campbell already has 88 sacks. In 2017, he had 14.5 sacks, and in 2018, he had 10.5. I expect his production to be more where it was this past year with Jacksonville, where he had 6.5 sacks, but I do believe in the Baltimore Ravens defense a little bit more than the 2019 Jacksonville Jaguars, and I feel like if the Ravens get Calais Campbell some additional help, then he could turn back the clock to 2017. He is a phenomenal pass rusher, and just giving up a 5th round pick for him is flat out highway robbery. At number 3, I have the Minnesota Vikings trading Stephon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills.
I like this trade for 2 reasons. Obviously, it gets him out of the NFC North. I like that deal. And plus, it gives the Bills a number 1 target. I feel like that's the one thing that this offense has been missing when it comes to the Buffalo Bills is they needed a number 1, and they got it. You could say, well, it was a stacked receiving, class. Why not go receiver in the class instead of, because you are getting a really, you're getting a lot of baggage with this guy. Not saying he's like an Antonio Brown kind of guy, just a lot of baggage, meaning money, just for the purpose of, he has a large contract, and you probably could have saved some of that money on drafting a guy. But you also, the positive is you do get a guy that did pan out, because there could be a chance you draft a receiver and he doesn't pan out. But yeah, and obviously for the Vikings in this trade, they get the 22nd pick in this trade of this year's draft. And hey, they can try to pick up a guy to replace him, but who knows? We'll see.
Put things in perspective, the Bills pretty much had to give up the number 22 overall pick this year, a fifth round pick this year, a sixth round pick this year, and a fourth round pick next year to get themselves Stefon Diggs. But you have to understand that this year's NFL draft is absolutely loaded with wide receiver talent. The Minnesota Vikings get to unload Stefon Diggs' hefty contract onto the Buffalo Bills, and they still could draft a wide receiver this year to put alongside Adam Thielen, and they could pretty much develop that wide receiver very slowly. And this is a very deep wide receiver draft. I say it in practically every video. I feel like the Minnesota Vikings literally handled the Stefon Diggs situation phenomenally. He was festering and he was annoyed, and every NFL team apparently seemed to know that Stefon Diggs really wanted out of Minnesota. And at the end of the day, they got tremendous value for a very good player. So I have to tip my hat off to the Minnesota Vikings. Getting a first-round pick, a fifth-round pick, a sixth-round pick, and a fourth-round pick for a wide receiver that you just gave the bag to 2 years ago is a phenomenal deal. They could draft his replacement, and the replacement could be either better and have way less of a temper, and on top of that, that replacement will be significantly cheaper. So hats off to the Minnesota Vikings. That was a phenomenal deal for them. At number 2, I have the New Orleans Saints somehow bringing back Drew Brees.
Obviously, this one's simple. I don't think it's like somehow. I think Drew Brees he wants to help out this team, get another ring, and I like this a lot because he still has some in his tank and he wants to keep going. I like this a lot.
For 2 years on a $50 million contract. And the reason why this is ranked so high is not only did they get Drew Brees to agree to come back, but they got him to agree to come back on a below market deal. This is essentially what Phillip Rivers got, and Drew Brees definitely deserves way more than this, but you could tell that this guy is hungry for another Super Bowl, and he'll do whatever it takes to retire with a Super Bowl championship. I have to tip my hat off to both sides here. I feel like Drew Brees said, okay, I'll give you guys a discount so you could get me additional help, and the New Orleans Saints were able to convince Brees to come back with their culture. They've been so close to winning the Super Bowl lately, or getting to the Super Bowl lately. It literally breaks my heart whenever I see them not make it to the Super Bowl, because they always lose in the most heartbreaking of ways. But hopefully this could be their year, and they have 2 more years. I think one of those years is he could void if he really doesn't want to play anymore, but they have 2 more years with Drew Brees, hopefully, to win him 1 more ring. And the number 1 spot on this entire list,
and obviously it's going to be stopped because of obviously this ad. But yeah, again, Brees, I like Brees as a player, he deserves another ring. He does, and he came back on a really cheap deal. So that's good for both sides there, So yeah, it's a good deal, and I like to see it, but I'm really interested to see what number 1 is.
And the number 1 spot on this entire list is the Arizona Cardinals stealing DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, if you watch my other video from the same guy, but the worst, I'm not going to spoil it, but I did go really deep into this, trade and shit. But yeah, short and sweet. It was a terrible trade by the Texans' point of view. But hey, Arizona, you better watch out for them. They're looking good. They got a young quarterback in Kyler Murray. Obviously just picked up, this man right here, and then pair him with, Fitzgerald. It's looking good over there in Arizona. They still have, they still need to get some more pieces, but they're looking good.
from the Houston Texans. And I think this is like the third time I talked about this trade. I could go on and on about this trade, though. All the Arizona Cardinals had to part with was a 2020 second round pick, a David Johnson, which they happened to bench.
But yeah, if you want to hear my full thing on it, go to the worst and I'll explain it. He's in there, but I'm not going to spoil what position he's in there.
And a 2021 fourth round pick to get themselves a true top 3 wide receiver in the NFL.
Look at that
and
jersey.
To give Kyler Murray some additional help. Furthermore, if the Arizona Cardinals wanted to, they could draft another wide receiver in the NFL draft, which I expect them to in the second or third round, and now they could spend that 8th overall pick trying to build up that offensive line to protect Kyler Murray so he doesn't have to be running all around the pocket to make plays this year. I expect Kyler Murray to make a huge step this year as a result of this trade, and I really hope, for the sake of Deshaun Watson, that Bill O'Brien gets fired or they do something, because I am literally watching Deshaun Watson get wasted away in Houston, and he deserves better than this, in my opinion. Now, let me know in the comment section.
Yeah. What was your what do you think the best one was? If it's not on this list, what was the best one for you? Go check out my other video, the worst free agent pickups. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys.